Sleeving is very important to protect your TCG cards, especially if you're going to be playing those valuable cards in a deck. Double sleeving them then doubles the protection, keeping them safe from dust, water, and more. But do you really need to double sleeve, and which one should you use? Let's find out. Hi everyone, this is D from Mushu Report, where I cover all things Lorcana. And today I want to talk about sleeving your cards, whether it's for Lorcana or any other TCG that you play. Why and how you should double sleeve, and which sleeves you should use. For those of you who are new to trading card games, let me do a brief introduction to sleeving. These are standard sleeves, meaning they are standard size sleeves that fit Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, and of course Lorcana cards. And they are pretty essential to every TCG player. They provide basic protection for your cards, whether it's just placing them into a deck or using them in your deck to play. If playing in any events, you will need to put sleeves on your deck with fully identical sleeves for all your cards and all placed in your sleeves in the exact same manner. Basically, it's good practice to put sleeves on all your cards, especially the most valuable ones. Once you open them out of booster pack, to keep them in as good a condition as possible. Cards in perfect condition are typically what TCG players call mint condition. Using only one layer of standard sleeves though doesn't really protect your cards too well because it's not a perfect seal and there is still an opening for the sleeves to open and close where dust, dirt, and water can enter. Once you have dust and dirt trapped between your card and the sleeve, outer pressure, from example when you hold a card, will cause these particles to press down your card, thereby damaging the card. Humidity is also your enemy, where moisture from the air will also cause your foil cards to curl up. All these issues will cause your cards to eventually show signs of wear and tear, like these white areas on the corners and edges of the card. To protect your cards from these problems, this is where double sleeving comes in. Double sleeving is where you first put on an inner layer of sleeve, often known as a precise or perfect fit sleeves, before you slot them into your standard sleeves. Using these dragon shoe sleeves as an example, first you slot in the perfect fit sleeves over the top of the card. You can see it ends up as a pretty tight and secure fit. Then you take the sleeve cards and put it into your standard size sleeve, completing a double sleeve. With a double sleeve, it is much harder for the dust and dirt particles to get trapped with your card since the perfect sleeve inside is such a tight fit and there's no longer any direct opening to the cards. Your cards are also cut off from any additional exposure to moisture in the air, thereby keeping them in good condition. The perfect fit sleeves also serve as a protection layer for the card whenever you want to swap the standard sleeves that you're using. Maybe when you're switching cards between decks or when you just want to move them around in your card folder since they are always protected. Need to take it out of the folder to show it off for a potential trade, then put it back into the album? Well, your valuable cards are protected all the way. Basically, you'll want to have that one layer of sleeve constantly on and avoid unsleeving this final inner layer as much as possible, as that will cause friction, and doing it multiple times will eventually cause damage to your cards. Now that you're hopefully convinced on double sleeving, let's talk options. There are many brands of inner sleeves out there, but I'll focus on the bigger brands today as these are the higher quality brands. For inner sleeves, you generally have three options. That's the Dragon Shield, the Ultimate Guard, and KMC. Let's start off with the KMC. KMC perfect size sleeves are roughly $3 for a pack of 100 pieces, which is also the cheapest of the three. If you're based in the US, you might see a slightly different packaging, but they're supposed to be the exact same thing. Their quality are pretty decent and they open up really easy to slot into your cards. But well, there's a pretty good reason why it opens up easily. The packaging state that they are 64 by 89 millimeters, which is the exact same size supposedly as this Ultimate Guard precise fit sleeves I have here, but they are actually very slightly bigger. Let me explain. This is a standard size Dragon Shield sleeve to use as an example. The KMC perfect fit sleeves doesn't simply go in if you push it in from the top. So let's slot it in first. You can see it goes in nicely, but instead, if you try to just slot it in by pushing it in like this directly, the card goes in on its own and leaves the sleeve behind. So to sleeve it in, all right, what you need to do is just use your finger and put it into the opening and just kind of help slide it in. And when it's in, you will feel that it has air pockets inside, so it might feel that bit bloated. So maybe you want to consider using your hands to just push out the air and it'll be a perfect seal after that. I would say that the quality is pretty good, and I've personally used KMC for the longest time when I was much younger, since I live in Asia where Japanese brands are a lot more common. Now, using the same standard size sleeve, let's slot in this Ultimate Guard Precise Fit sleeves, which are $350 for a pack of 100 pieces. As you can see, the Ultimate Guard sleeves go in very smoothly, and you don't even feel any air pockets, unlike the KMC ones, even though they are supposed to be the same size. So this will make sleeving in your cards a lot easier and faster, which is pretty important when you're sleeving in a whole 60 card deck. For anyone who's taken part in an event and realized at the last moment that your sleeves have problem and you have to re-sleeve the entire deck, you will know what I mean. The Ultimate Guard sleeves do feel pretty good, and I think they are pretty comparable to the KMC inner sleeves. The only minor issue I had with them is that sometimes they are stuck together when it's fresh out the pack. So when you open them up for the first time, it does take a bit of effort to just sort of get them unstuck, as you can see here. After that, I didn't really find any issues, but this might be a deal breaker for some of you. The best of the lot, in my opinion, however, definitely goes to the Dragon Shoe Perfect Fit sleeves, though you're definitely paying for it at $6 for a pack of 100 sleeves. Don't let the price fool you though, as these are one of the most popular inner sleeves in the market, which are even in back order status on their official web store. It won't be too easy to describe this on camera, but they feel slightly thicker compared to the other two inner sleeve. And there's no exact size mentioned, as they only state that they fit the standard size cards, but they are definitely a tighter fit for your cards when you use them. Though with that tighter fit, it also means that they slot in that much easier into the standard sleeves. Regarding the size difference, there's two different opinions, with people often comparing the Dragon Shoe sleeves and KMC being the best in the market. Some people prefer the KMC inner sleeve slightly bigger size because they feel that the inner KMC sleeves have a good fit with standard size sleeves, finding the Dragon Shoe inner sleeves a bit too loose when it's inside the standard sleeve. So there's people like me though who don't think it's too loose and actually like the slightly smaller Dragon Shoe sleeve because it's a tighter fit, meaning less contact with air, so it's better protection for your cards. Yes, it's that slightly bit slower when you're trying to sleeve it initially into the Dragon Shoe Perfect Fit, but usually once these go on, you don't remove them ever. And I actually appreciate that much faster sleeving into the standard sleeve, since this is the one that you'll be doing the most often of all, whether you're preparing for a tournament or just switching around your cards between decks. That isn't the end for Dragon Shoe inner sleeves though. There's one other great option, the Dragon Shoe Perfect Fit Sealable sleeve. These retail at $7.50 for a pack of 100 sleeves, and the key difference here is that one extra flap. So there are other sealable sleeves out there like these Ultimate Guard ones that use sticky tape, but I find the Dragon Shoe sleeves a lot more simpler to use. Just slot in the cards about 3/4 in, put in the flap over, and just kind of slot it into the inner sleeve, and then just slide it the rest of the way. Pretty simple, and that makes it for a very tight fit. I do agree that this is extra work and it does add thickness to your deck, though there are people who swear by it for their decks. Just remember that if playing in an event, the entire deck needs to have exactly similar sleeves, so you can't just double sleeve the expensive cards and single sleeve the cheap cards. The entire deck must have the exact same similar sleeves, or you could get disqualified for cheating. Personally, I think that these Perfect Fit Sealable sleeves are great to use for your most expensive card that go in the album, but maybe not for the deck because of the extra thickness. If a very expensive deck though, like a Magic the Gathering Commander deck, or maybe you got a Lorcana deck that took you a lot of effort to get all 60 cards in foil versions, then you might want to consider these sleeves. Let's do a quick test on how good the protection is. Here is a small basin of water, and here is a Maleficent card that I printed. No, I don't own a D23 version, though I really wish I did. So we'll seal it in with the Dragon Shoe Perfect Fit Sealable inner sleeves. And now let's add in the standard matte sleeves. So with all that in, okay, let's soak it in the water. Let it really get in there. By the way, if you think this video has helped you out, a sub to the channel right now would be a perfect fit. And that should do it. Now let's get it out of the sleeve after we dry it up with the kitchen towel, okay? Make sure my fingers and hands are dry. We do not want to damage my nicely printed version of Maleficent. Okay, so Let's get it out of the sleeve now. You can see that it is actually slightly wet. Inside the sleeve itself, the standard sleeve is wet. So let's dry this off as well. Okay. And now that we've dried off the sealable perfect fit sleeves, let's get it off the card. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to do this quick. And voila. You can see the Maleficent is very nice and perfectly dry, just excusing my lousy print of it. So yeah, so it is in perfectly good condition, showing you how good the protection will be with these sleeves. Alright, so that was the inner sleeve. Let's talk about the standard sleeve option. Lorcana is releasing some art sleeve featuring Captain Hook, Elsa, and Mickey Mouse, which are probably Ultra Pro standard size sleeve. All the inner sleeves I shared earlier on should fit nicely into the Lorcana art sleeve. That said, I'm not a big fan of Ultra Pro sleeve as I feel that their quality isn't great, so once again we are back to the well-known brands of Ultimate Guard and Dragon Shield. Well, technically I had Game Genic sleeves prepared too, but I opened them up and I really can't recommend them cause their quality isn't great. You can see the creases over here, and so yeah, it is not something that I'll be going through today. So, Ultimate Guard is the second biggest name in terms of sleeve. They have two different sleeve lines for standard sleeves, mainly the Cortex and the Katana. The Cortex is the value of budget option at $8 a pack of 100 pieces made in China, while the Katana is the high quality option at $12 a pack of 100 pieces and are made in Japan. Having tried out the Cortex sleeves for myself, I think that they are suitable for casual play and protecting your cards, though they might not be the best option if you are going to play in events. For example, I sleeve 30 random Pokemon cards using Cortex, and even after I give it a shuffle, you can see that if I shine it in the light slightly, I can pick out the only two Delibirds inside. So number one is over here, and number two is somewhere, I believe was this one. Yes, over here. So that said, I feel that the shuffling feels decent, and you're probably not going to do stuff like try to pick out two specific cards in the light doing casual plays like this, so I think that there isn't that big of an issue. The superior option of the two is the Katana, and I don't see any issues with them. The sleeve look and feel even, shuffling feels great in the hand, and the quality control feels really good and are definitely recommended. And then we are back to the most popular option of all, the Dragon Shield. Dragon Shield also have two similar options. The standard mats are $12.50 for a pair of 100, while the dual mat are $14 each. The standard mat basically have the same color for the inside and the back, and these have been around for a while the dual mats were just released 2 years back, and they are all black on the inside with your color of choice on the back. So why pay extra for the inner color to be different? Well, the issue is in tournaments. You do need the back of the sleeves to be fully opaque so they can see through the sleeves and see the back of the cards. If the back of the cards can be seen, it can be possible to mark specific cards, which means you could get disqualified for attempted cheating. If you really like dark color sleeves like me, then you have no issue with the standard matte Dragon Shield sleeves. But for certain colors, it's possible to kind of see the back of the cards through the sleeves and make out some of the details. So with that in mind, the dual mats were released and have resolved this issue. Protection wise though, dual mats are pretty much the same as the standard mats. Color aside, I do feel that the dual mat backs are smoother compared to the standard mat one, so shuffling is smoother. If you do a search online, there are many people who love the new Dragon Shield dual mat sleeves, and it's not hard to understand why. I should also point out that the Dragon Shield sleeves are actually slightly thicker than the Ultimate Guard sleeves. Now that we know the options, which one should you get? If it's just for casual play and you don't need the top of the line sleeve, I think that the Cortex are pretty good. Well, many other brands out there are also pretty good if you just want sleeves for a casual game. Just take note that their quality isn't usually that great and they don't last that long, so it might actually be a lousier deal in the long end to get the cheaper sleeves. Both Ultimate Guard and Dragon Shield, including the Cortex, are actually pretty high quality sleeves that last very long. They also have their different pros and cons. For example, Katana color sleeves are matte, just like the Dragon Shield, but their surface is a lot smoother, with many people even commending Katana for their buttery smooth shuffling. Personally, I think it's just slightly too smooth for me though, with the cards easily sliding around when I'm not careful, compared to the Dragon Shield that actually stuck together a bit more even though both sets of sleeves are pretty much fresh out the box. As for Dragon Shield, they have a very huge color range for you to choose from. Katanas have a total of 10 colors, but the standard mat has a grand total of 35 options. Heck, even the dual mats have 14 colors. Also, many people, including me, like the matte finish as they just aren't that slippery, and I'm not fond of dropping my cards when I shuffle them, which does happen often with the brand new smooth sleeves that the katanas are. However, they are thicker, so they can be harder to shuffle for the people with smaller hands. As this is the layer where your hands will be in contact with the most, I don't think there is a best answer for this. I would recommend you visit an LGS and ask them to let you try out the different sleeves yourself and shuffle them to decide which you prefer. That said, here is a 60 card deck sleeve with a single layer Dragon Shield dual matte sleeves, along with 3 different 60 card decks that are double sleeve here, with their measured heights for your consideration on which you might prefer. Personally, I definitely prefer Dragon Shield sleeves, and I have to admit that the dual mattes feel amazing. And I think that I'll go with the Dragon Shield Perfect Fit in the sleeves as well, since it's pretty easy to sleeve in. I wouldn't use the sealable sleeves in my deck though. I plan to keep a pack at home just to store any valuable cards that I might crack from my packs. And that's about all my thoughts on sleeving. I actually plan to briefly talk about triple sleeving, but I think the video has gotten a bit long, so I shall leave that for another time. Let me know in the comments if you're interested to hear about triple sleeving. So thank you everyone for watching. This is D Simon from Mushu Report, signing out.